Okay, so I'm here today with Philip. We're in Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia, and we're here because this young gentleman actually brought something to this city for people which has quite good impact on them, and that was the passion in dancing salsa. Well, actually, what was your first idea to start with teaching salsa in here in Ulaanbaatar?
So basically, I mean, in the beginning, I learned to dance a little bit in South America and then at university in Germany. But I mean, I didn't dance that much. What was here really the idea was in winter in 2009, I was here, and it's the coldest capital of the world. So actually, there is a record in Ulaanbaatar. Not sure how positive it is, but anyways, it's the coldest capital in the world, and often it gets to minus 40 degrees Celsius. So really cold, and especially the winter of 2009. Plus, air pollution is horrendous. So often you have the PM 2.5 above 1,000. So during winter, it's much worse than in, for example, Beijing or Shanghai. In summer, it's okay, but what happens in winter is the city was built for like 300,000 people, and now there's roughly 1.3, 1.4 million people living here. And of course, there's a lot of new buildings, but a lot of people also live in gers, so the Mongolian yurts, and in wooden houses. And all those people are not connected to the central heating system, so they have small stoves. So in winter there's 100,000 stoves heating up at the same time and burning whatever they get. And their chimney is of course like just 1.5, 2 meters high. So the pollution is really an issue. And then the third issue was that, you know, sometimes here it's a bit aggressive, or especially it was. You had your experience as well, but it was a lot worse. I mean, you saw a car accident and people getting out and fight, or often in clubs there were a lot of fights. So I felt, okay, we need to have a different culture, kind of like a small holiday, and out of this holiday there should be something that changes the culture a little bit. So in the holiday I thought like, wow, okay, outside it's minus 40. It's super cold, a bit aggressive, and air pollution. So how about we go somewhere where you have a very warm atmosphere, a bit of dancing, like tropical music, maybe some cocktails, and just people that are friendly to each other. So that was the idea, to have this small holiday, but maybe also to have an impact on the society as a whole. And this is how I got started. I worked together with two guys. It was Sheena, a Mongolian girl, and Paco, a German guy. So we organized once. It was okay, but then they said, wow, it's a lot of work. But for me it was clear, okay, yes, it's a lot of work, but it's because we need to do something. It's so critical to change this. So after half a year, I started again with some other people involved, like Chica and Bolor, who's a local artist. So I think that is important to always get people involved. And what I found is the interesting part was there were only 3-4 Mongolian salsa dancers here. Most of them studied abroad, many of them in Cuba actually. And learned how to dance salsa there.
So they had a basis.
They are fantastic dancers. Many of them better than me.
Okay.
Yeah? And there were also some foreigners that knew salsa. And every half a year there was a salsa party. But what happens was, it was only for the people that learned it abroad. And it was like a closed shop. So only half a year, only the people in the know. And no new beginner would ever go there. And that was the issue that I saw, to say like, if a salsa culture should grow, you need to encourage the beginners. You need to bring new people in. And so we started in Tool restaurant. It's one of the oldest restaurants here in Ulaanbaatar. So we got that for Saturday evenings. And in the beginning it was small. 30, 40 people, just word of mouth. I told basically all my friends and their friends, and even like on the street handing out flyers. but it wasn't worth it. I mean, from the flyers, almost nobody came, but the people who came experienced something very different, like something very welcoming. So in the beginning, we made everything for free. I mean, not the drinks, but just no door fee, and we made always like a course for beginners to get started. Then some salsa and bachata and kizomba dance, and then also some performance, and not necessarily salsa. I mean, we had belly dancers or we had singers, just something interesting, so that people that say like, oh, I don't really dance salsa, they don't have an excuse, because hey, okay, will have a lesson, you will have a nice performance of something, and afterwards sometimes we in the beginning put some club music, just in order to attract people to say there's no excuse, come. And each time there was like 5 to 10 more, and there was a huge luck. So I mean, I taught the first like 3-4 times, but there's Ihab here, and like after the 4th time or so, he joined, and he's a great teacher and great human salsa dancer.
He's from England, isn't he?
He's from England, yes. I think he was actually very much engaged with the London salsa community. So maybe some of the people like watching this or reading about this later might remember, okay, Ihab had like salsa in the park in London, and was there very much involved in the salsa scene, and now knows a couple of promoters in Shanghai and other places. So that was great. And the other thing that was great is, as I said, there were some foreigners here that had a very rich knowledge about the dance. So some of them came here, for example, as volunteers, as teachers, or did some work. And I mean, they were some like professional salsa teachers, but they had nowhere to go to teach. They just thought like no, I mean, here there is nothing. And exactly, I mean, before I started, I spoke with some Mongolians, and all of them said, well, yes, some foreigners dance salsa, but Mongolians never ever will dance salsa or bachata or something like that. Never. This will never happen. And you know, there's a nice song by Mercedes Sosa, Cambia. So Cambia todo en este mundo. It's like about change in the world, so that we can change a lot for the better. But of course, that also maybe some things we shouldn't change. Yeah, some things when we find like, okay, like the humanity to stick together and so on, we shouldn't change that. And that is very encouraging songs. So often I had some songs in my mind, or Rebellion, it's a salsa song, like, okay, what could we do? Like start a little revolution here in terms of a new culture. And so I found a lot of people that were salsa DJs in Germany and worked here in development support for half a year, and came over to DJ, yeah, or teachers. There were so many different teachers, so that was fantastic, and out of that it really started to grow. Yeah.
How that news actually spread around the people, like teachers, DJs? How did they knew? Like from friends of their friends, or just out flyers?
No, I mean the flyers, I have to say, it was hard work. Just being out on the street and handing out flyers, it doesn't help at all. The thing here in Mongolia, it's an interesting place. I always compare it to the series Friends, because in Friends the people meet either in their apartment or in that, I don't know, coffee shop bar. And the same here. Like we come to this place and usually there's somebody sitting here that I would know or know.
Relative or so.
So it's very close. There's just like, let's say 10 restaurants that many people would go to. So everybody, like the foreigners here, are quite connected. And then if you do something like that, word travels fast. And people talk about this. Because it's also something very new. Like there's so many clubs and bars, I mean Irish pubs and so on everywhere. And well, I mean, it's okay sometimes, but of course, if you do something new, people will hear about that. And if they are somehow connected to this, of course, they will somehow hear about it. Yeah. And then, of course, the internet helped us also. But I think in the beginning it was mostly word of mouth. There were a lot of Peace Corps volunteers, and you get one Peace Corps volunteer involved, he will tell the 30-40 others, and so on. So very quickly after half a year, we always had like 200, 250 people coming to the events, so really big. And it was word of mouth. And then eHub also started a Facebook page and group. It was very small in the beginning, and he said, no, let's start that. It will grow. And now I think it's 35,000 people. So it's quite big. I mean, for a small place like the least populated area in the world, it's quite big.
Yeah, that is. And so how long does it take since beginning till now?
Yeah, so in the beginning it took maybe half a year to really ramp it up from just like 30-40 people to 300 people. But it was so full, sometimes you couldn't even dance. So sometimes it was more like a rock concert. We even did like once or twice stage diving, which has nothing to do with salsa, but more with this positive atmosphere we had. And it was just, I mean, it was just not possible sometimes to dance because there's so many people. And what happened after half a year is that there was another place starting. It was called Geo, a little bit out, but basically the same concept, just on Fridays. So you could say copy, but also it was great because it shows like, wow, okay, it spreads.
You made a trend.
And then with eHub we also started another time on Thursdays. It was on Soul Street in one place. The place doesn't exist anymore, but we started there on Thursday. So after maybe 1 year later, there was almost every day of the week salsa somewhere. And the good thing is, I think a lot of new people like joined in. So there were some. I mean, of course, the 3-4 Mongolian salsa dancers. They often came, but there were also a lot of very good dance teachers here in Mongolia. But they didn't know a lot about salsa or bachata. But of course, they had musicality and the body movements and so on. So for them, it was easy to pick it up. And after half a year, so there was quite a lot of teachers as well. And of course, like Enche was one of them, joined, helped me. I taught her a little bit in the beginning, but mostly eHub, of course, taught her, and she became a teacher and taught lots of people here. Amma was one of the original dancers, and she also taught. And again, I mean, we had a lot of like part-time teachers. Like one, for example, Greg, who lives just upstairs. So there's an example of how small everything is. So he was the first guy to teach Kizomba here, together with Amma. Ihab was the first guy to teach this Euro slide or these group dances. And you've seen here, there's so many group dances now. Like for a lot of the more traditional dancers like me, it's almost too much because there are like 4 or 5 group dances in a row. But this also, I mean, it started small with one group dance, with 2, and now there's maybe 20, 30 different ones that people know, and even like first ones, people almost don't dance anymore. So this is, I think, how it spread, and I think the fascinating thing is really, it's not just, I mean, the music is wonderful and the dance itself, but what I found so fascinating is the energy and the happiness that brings to people. So you see a lot of people smiling and having a good time.
It was really clear,
And actually, like one thing also was a bit of a crazy idea. I told Enche, like, you know, in my hometown with friends, and also especially in the salsa community, we usually do greetings with 2 kisses. And if you see now, like nobody did in the beginning. Now you have a look. How many people make this greeting? It really spread. It's something. I mean, you could say, well, what does it have to do with salsa? Maybe not that much, but it has to do something with like friendliness. And I think this experience that you can go and ask whoever to dance. That is, I think, the nice thing, the very positive thing that is continuing. And I mean, that was, I mean, the beginning in 2010, 11. Now we are at 2019, so there's so many people, like 20 years old. So they were 10 when we started. It's crazy, So really young, but that shows like it continues to build up and continues to attract new people and also sometimes old people coming.
I've seen it, like there was a really friendship in between those guys, you know, like first time I thought it's like a dating site or something like that, you know, because like the boy came to girl, you know, picked her to dance and they were sitting together and having fun, you know, they were all the time smiling. That's what I liked on that idea what you made. It changes. That's what changes the city.
No, I think, I mean, that's why, I mean, we discussed a little bit before about teaching, and I think more myself as a composer, not that much of a teacher, but to really think like, wow, I mean, there's so many great DJs that were here, but, you know, nobody went to them, and there were so many great, also, for example, Mongolian dance teachers, but that haven't had any exposure to salsa, bachata, and so on. So it was just like bringing that together and creating something. But of course, to be honest, it's not always, you know, like honey and miel, but or I mean honey and what is it? Cafe, miel, honey and coffee. So sometimes, of course, there are conflicts. Yeah. So, for example, we had a laptop with all the songs, and it got stolen after a salsa party at the place. You know, we just didn't attend it for half a minute, and it was gone. Yeah. Or, of course, if you have a lot of parties, there is a bit of competition in between the parties, and of course, then later the dance schools developed more. And okay, do you learn with that school or that? So there's always this degree of potential for conflict and competition, but I think to be aware of this, to know this, and still say like, okay, but anyways, let's have fun together, let's dance together, let's try to keep it together. I think that is important. Yeah.
It's amazing stuff. Just like I was really, my first impression was, wow, this guy is amazing, you know, what they did with the people, you know, because mostly if you walk in the streets, people are not smiling, not having fun basically, even at the parties, you know, they are just staying and moody persons, you know, in the corner. And in here, it was so cheerful. It's like that atmosphere, you don't see it that often, like I can say.
Yeah, I think, I mean, in clubs, it's so loud, you can't really talk.
Yeah.
So, and people don't really dance. Sometimes it can be fun, but I don't need to go there that often. Let's put it that way, it's not my thing. And the beauty of salsa, and that is what enabled Gumba last time, Gumba and Ihab at Alibaba place on Tuesday, is another friend, Fuchs, was here. He's a calligrapher. And so you can say, like, what does calligraphy have to do with salsa? Actually, not that much, to be honest. But isn't it a wonderful performance to bring that, to show that, you know, this art form? And I think that was so welcome, like so well received that people were, wow, I mean, and yes, we came to this dance party, but now we see calligraphy. This is fantastic.
You've seen it even on the faces, like, of the regular salsa dancers who were there going. And then the Fuchs came with the calligraphy out of blue, you know, and like, wow, that's something new in here. You know? It's like, yeah, that's getting interesting more and more, you know. So you just maintain it. Just like, yes, you always come with new ideas.
Yeah, so I think this is like, there's so many people have their talents, and not to hide the talents, but to bring them out somewhere, you know. Whatever it is, I mean, if it's a belly dancer, perfect. If you can sing something or play guitar, like all this is so valuable. Or if you're a painter, you know, so all these things could be shown and demonstrated. Yeah.
It's like kind of art, you know. It's always to perform and show it to others, to like enjoy it with them.
Yeah.
And that was really good idea, and I think you made a great thing in here. I thank you for changing the world how it is, you know, because there is always getting over the aggression. People are like so full of it, and you made something to change it, which I thank you for.
Yeah, I mean, we made it. It was really like a group of people, and as I said, like like some people in the beginning that dropped out, but then Ihab was there from almost the beginning, Enche was there from almost the beginning,
Sharing
some
ideas
dances and
how
sharing
to-
ideas
yeah.
and so on. So that was great. But yeah, I mean, if you're in Ulaanbaatar, check out the UB Salsa Facebook page and group. So there's a lot of information every day of the week. There's dance parties somewhere. There's a lot of kizomba lately. There's a lot of group dances. But anyways, there's also bachata, salsa. Yeah.
So if we can actually point the people on the places when they will visit Ulaanbaatar, where they can go to see the salsa actually.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's try to point that out. However, I mean, sometimes it's changing. So yesterday, Thursday, it was in the children's park in this boat. There's like a pirate boat, and it was outside. It got very cold, like 12 degrees. But if you kept dancing, it was okay. Yeah. And I think tomorrow it will be on Saturday. Also, this time in the at the boat. Before it was in Sky Lounge, so it changes. I mean, some places close down, new places open up, but the basic idea that every night of the week there is something that is going on. Yeah.
Like, for example, I've been in Alibaba. I've been there already twice or 3 times. That means it is like the standard place to have it performing salsa, or
Well, I mean, for example, 1 year ago or half a year ago, it was at Beer House on Tuesday on Seoul Street, so very near to here, this place. And just a couple of months back, it moved to Alibaba. So now, of course, it's standard. But if we talk in half a year could
Might
be,
change,
but it
yes.
might change. So that's why I'm a bit hesitant to say
I
like
see.
these are the
I
places
see.
and it's set in stone. So usually yes, for like 3 years it's in one place. I heard the building of Alibaba will be renovated in maybe 2 years. So definitely after 2 years it won't be there. Who knows?
so but you still post it like a couple days or a couple hours before it starts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, if you go to one salsa party, just ask like, okay, where is it tomorrow? Where is it the day after tomorrow? And you get
They
all
will
the
point you up.
information. Yeah.
Right. So that was perfect interview. I thank you for everything you've done it. Thank you for your time, and we will see you.